Oh, drug smuggling in a submarine? I'll bite. Let's watch
This is a Narco submarine.
Okay.
A stealth marine vehicle designed to transport drugs from South America to the US, and sometimes even Europe. Over the last decade, authorities have caught over 200 of these,
No, it doesn't
but
smell
there
like
are
Cappy
many
anymore.
more out there. Today, we will take a look at 4 different models, ranging from simple all
Good.
the way to transatlantic high-tech.
We'll know which one to buy,
How do
chat.
these submarines work? How do they avoid detection? And what does the Coast Guard do to catch them?
This is German Coast Guard. What are you thinking about? NymN will smuggle Danish cheese to Sweden.
There are many ways to smuggle cocaine into the high-profit markets of the US and Europe. Each year, authorities seize several hundred tons of cocaine before it reaches the streets, and many more tons get past them. In this game of
Everything
cat
looks
and
good
mouse,
here.
cartels constantly come up with new ways to deliver their product. At first, narco subs were made for short trips, but over time, their production was professionalized.
What if we legalize
A
cocaine?
hidden
What would happen?
industry began to flourish. This is Oscar Moreno Ricardo.
Sup?
Colombian authorities named him the king of semi-submersibles. Here, deep in the dense Colombian jungle, hidden along a river, he operates a clandestine shipyard, far beyond the reach of authorities. In places like this one, Ricardo and his competitors build submarines. They can travel thousands of miles
Damn.
across the
Anyone
ocean,
remember the
carrying
Ricardo flick
tons
meme?
of cocaine. These narco submarines are designed to remain hidden, but there are rare moments when we get a glimpse
Oh, no,
into their
plural.
world. H.I. Sutton studies the craft of Ricardo and the others. He has dedicated his career to uncovering their secrets. He's a specialist in
And if he ever wants to make more money, he could pivot and he could just start smuggling drugs instead. He'll know everything about it.
defense analysis and unconventional naval warfare.
I've been looking at narco submarines for about 15 years and keeping a database of all the incidents of narco submarines and analyzing their designs and the trends
Sounds like
that are
2GD.
evolving in that space.
Now, let's dive into our first sub.
This is a very typical narco submarine. They started to appear like this in the late 2000s and they're still being found today.
It's roughly 14 meters in length and not a true submarine. Rather, it's a so-called low-profile vessel. The top remains visible above the waterline.
Ah.
Its color blends in with the
This is
sea.
Chat, if you got to go on a submarine for free, would you do it?
Due to its low
go
height,
really, really
radar
deep.
systems have a hard time detecting it. Currently,
Yeah, I don't think I
it is
would.
en route to Central America.
It's fucking claustrophobic. It's not like you get to experience the ocean, really. You're just sitting there in a fucking tinfoil can. Tin can.
Inside the cramped vessel, 5 men sit in tense silence.
I'd rather go in one of those
Every
boats
so
that has
often,
glass
the
in the
low
bottom.
hum of the diesel engine pulses through the hull as it pushes them forward at 16 kilometers per hour.
Oh, a yellow submarine.
The sub is divided into 3 compartments. This middle is the crew area. It's sparse and uncomfortable. Bunks cramped tightly together, a single hatch above for entry.
Cozy.
Here at the rear, the diesel engine roars, vibrating against the thin fiberglass walls. It is located behind the crew compartment so they can access it to do repairs. Up front, the cargo hold is tightly packed with bags of cocaine.
Drugs!
7.7 tons, to be precise. The crew uses the weight of the drugs, fuel, and engine to keep the vessel low in the water. The cargo on board will earn the cartel a hefty sum, if the sub reaches its destination. A Marine patrol aircraft spots the narco submarine and
shit.
immediately alerts the US Coast Guard.
Jig is up.
Right now, they are operating in international waters. 2 small boats and a helicopter race to intercept the vessel.
Oh, fuck.
Once within range, Coast Guard officers jump onto the ship and give the
Damn!
door a friendly knock.
Oh, that's badass.
They capture the 5 smugglers along with the cocaine, valued at well over $200 million. If law enforcement had not acted so decisively, the smugglers could have opened the scuttling valve, a last resort mechanism that floods the sub and sends it plunging to the ocean floor, along with all its evidence.
I was gonna say, they should just have a hatch that lets out the drugs.
This crew had a relatively short journey. Others travel half across the world. While narco subs are obviously used for organized crime, their engineering and the ingenuity behind their design are undeniably
Cocaine
remarkable.
floats.
If you ever wanted to build your own skills in these areas, on the right side of the law of course, Brilliant is a great place to start.
Hi chat, so go to Brilliant if you want to learn how to make your own drug smuggling submarine, okay? Go to brilliant.org/fern, you'll support this channel at the same time.
To get 20% off an annual premium subscription. Start developing
You got
new
tuna?
skills today.
Oh shit! Sarah's got what the tuna?
A different part of the Amazon. A Narco vessel departs NymN now in Brazil and is making its way to
Nice, dude.
Macapa, the Amazon's mouth. This semi-sub is over 20 meters long and nicknamed Che.
Che?
Inside Che sit 3 men. Agustin Alvarez, a former Spanish boxer and captain of the vessel, and 2 Ecuadorian men. They are about to cross the Atlantic. Traveling at around 19 kilometers per hour, they will cover roughly 6,500 kilometers from the Brazilian rainforest all the way to Europe, with no GPS and only a compass to guide their way. It will take them about 2 weeks to reach their destination, if all goes according to plan. This
Alright.
Narco sub is very similar to our first one, but it is more modern and larger. It also has 3 compartments.
You've got the engine in the back, the crew in the middle, and the cargo bay.
Nearly half the sub's size is reserved for fuel. 3 massive tanks holding 20,000 liters, ensuring the vessel can make the long journey. The men have no proper beds and use plastic bags as toilets.
Ew.
For food, they have the choice between energy bars, rice, or cans of sardines.
Ew.
There's only one proper seat, so 2 men must lie down at all times.
Damn, fuck that.
The men endured 3 storms and almost hit a larger ship on the way, but finally managed to cross the Atlantic. But well, luck is not on their side.
Can't they
After
shit in the
27
ocean?
days, the sub
probably
runs out
shouldn't
of
have-
fuel. The journey took twice as long as planned.
Bag and throw it in the ocean.
Because of the conditions at sea, they can't deliver the drugs to another vessel. 2 attempts to meet with cartel boats fail. As a last resort, Alvarez contacts old friends from his hometown Vigo and hopes to get help from them to unload the cocaine. But this also fails. So
What are
they
they gonna do
travel
now?
near the coast of Galicia and sink the vessel. Afterwards, the crew wants to flee, but law enforcement has already spotted them. The EU's Maritime Analysis and Operations Center has notified Spain that a suspicious vessel is heading for their coast. They watched them using night vision goggles and observed their arrival in Galicia. Officials arrested 2 Ecuadorian men shortly after the sinking. Alvarez can flee. He hides nearby in an abandoned house for 5 days and then finally gets arrested.
What were they sinking?
Spanish police refloat and confiscate the sunken submarine. They find 3 tons of cocaine, worth around $100 million.
Damn.
Every time one of these gets caught,
One
a
ecstasy
cartel
contract.
loses a lot of money. Reason enough to innovate.
Damn. Hey, it's Dagaugo with the 38 months says, and when the lamb opened the 4th seal. Yes, thank you. Welcome back. You lost your left ball? Wait, what happened? Are you okay?
At first glance, this just looks like a real submarine. It has the typical cylindrical shape and is around 24 meters
Chad,
long.
is this real?
This build can almost fully submerge. Only a snorkel protrudes from its top, allowing the vessel to breathe, drawing in air to cool its diesel engine and provide fresh oxygen for the crew. It also gives the vessel its name, the Snorkel Sub.
Unlike most real submarines or most naval submarines, it's not built out of steel or metal, it's built out of fiberglass.
A diesel engine powers the sub, while an onboard generator provides electricity for various systems, including a camera mounted atop the snorkel. So they always have an idea of what's around them when they're underwater.
I wonder if it's instantly fucked if it dives down, or if it can survive for a bit.
Ballast tanks allow it to take in water and dive deeper when danger is spotted.
Oh,
The interior feels cramped, yet sophisticated. There's a basic
I
toilet
could have just
and a
not
sink.
paused.
Small luxuries that make long journeys more bearable for the
Well done.
crew. The snorkel sub can haul up to 8 tons of cocaine.
Woo!
carrying its illicit cargo thousands of kilometers from Colombia to destinations like Mexico or beyond.
So far, not a single one of these has ever been caught at sea. But we know they keep building them because the ones
All right,
that we have
chat.
got like
So
this
you guys taking notes? This is the one to go for.
always being captured on land.
Hi, chill
So
dude.
we can infer
Look at how
from
chill he
that
is.
that they must be very successful.
And that makes sense. Patrol aircraft will have a much harder time spotting this sub. Through its camera system, it can maneuver around and evade Coast Guard ships with much greater finesse. The fact that such a complex machine gets built in a jungle in the middle of nowhere is remarkable. These shipyards are far from traditional supply chains or modern facilities.
Narco submarines are designed and the construction is overseen by master builders. These are artisans, very technically proficient. They're impressive designs in the sense that while they might look very shoddy and minimalist, they really are the perfect example of the minimum viable product.
These subs need to be good enough to reliably transport extremely expensive cargo thousands of miles. But at the same time, they have to be built with very basic materials. Not many people are capable of doing that.
These master builders, there's only so many of them. And we can tell that because each designer, if you like, has signature. They have certain ways of solving problems that reveal themselves in the designs.
And one of these builders far outshines the rest.
Me.
In November 2020, law enforcement stumbled upon something
This is a cool job. Just building some fucking submarines in the middle of the jungle. I mean, you're giving them to the cartel. Maybe that's not very cool, but...
extraordinary in the Colombian jungle. A fully submersible, 12-meter-long Narco submarine. There's no fuel storage and no diesel engine in the back. Instead, the sub houses a whopping 10 tons of batteries,
Electric?
powering 2 electric motors. This is the peak of Narco sub
the
ingenuity.
magnum opus.
Construction costs roughly $1.5 million. Dive planes control the depth of the submarine. Its batteries have an estimated endurance of 12 hours. Traveling at 5 kilometers per hour, this sub could reach a travel distance of about 60 kilometers. This sub can travel neither fast nor far. But it doesn't have to. This vessel is not designed to make long journeys on its own. Do you see this little thing here? That's a
Docking.
towing ring.
Oh.
It can be attached to larger ships, allowing the Narco sub to be pulled
Oh my
long
God.
distances undetected. When the smugglers reach their destination or Coast Guard appears, they simply unhook and continue on their own.
Brilliant.
This sub is extremely hard to detect. In fact, it has never been found in action. Authorities have only discovered this one example in the Colombian jungle.
My first thing when I started watching this video is all of this is just stuff that they discovered. So what they're seeing here are all the worst designs, right? Imagine how much brilliant shit they've come up with that never got
But there are
found out.
most likely many more of them out in the water.
Spaceships? Oh my god, that's in the
We can
future.
infer that it's incredibly
freelancer.
successful, just like the other. All narco submarines are statistically successful, most get through. But these ones are even harder to find and has never been seen in the wild.
This Narco sub is proof that drug smugglers continue to design new, sophisticated vessels to move drugs into profitable markets.
The trend has been towards smaller payloads. They carry
Sex,
less
drugs, and
drugs
warp-push
than they used
technology.
to, but there's
True.
more of them. And so it's really about optimizing their supply lines.
What do they
and
drill
getting
through the earth?
The drugs to the market, minimizing the risks.
I think that's very
When
likely.
the
but
sub completes
sending it up to space, I feel like that might be like a future solution. Oh, this is almost more reliable. Why bother sending it to space? Feels almost easier to hide shit in the ocean.
its mission, it may end up here, in a massive graveyard of Narco submarines on the ocean floor. Because almost all of them are only built for a one-off trip.
Oh. Just a casual $1 million construction for one trip. Huh.
In 2022, the reign of Oscar Moreno Ricardo, the so-called king of narco submarines, came to an end.
Oh, damn.
After years of eluding authorities, he was finally arrested in a joint operation by Colombian and American authorities. His capture marks a significant victory for law enforcement, but it is far from a decisive blow. Another worthy successor will most likely have already taken his place.
He could be right here.
Somewhere in the depths of the Colombian
In this very chat
jungle,
room.
a new genius is already working on the next generation of Narco submarines. More advanced, more sophisticated, and designed to beat the latest tactics of law
The
enforcement.
eternal cat and mouse race, man. Crazy. All right, that was a great video. Thank you, Fern. I quite enjoyed that. Shout out to whoever said that the latest Fern video is good. You were PP. You were BB, my friend. Very dank and very cool. Very nut-y. There's a best of internet daily dotes. There's the new unusual memes. This thing looks insane. Ah!